Hey, this is Michael Bohm with Youth Apologetics Training. Today we're going to keep going on this series about Wicca and witchcraft. What is it? Now, the first two episodes in this series, I spent a lot of time ranting, and I suppose that's okay. But I think now it's time to give you guys what you're looking for. You guys want to know, what the heck do Wiccans believe? So today I'm going to read an article about Wicca that I think gives a pretty good bird's eye view of what Wicca is. And then in the following days, we're going to get even closer and look at individual practices and beliefs. My intention in this series, friends, is to teach you about their belief systems so that you can better witness to them, and also so that you can recognize certain signs in a family member, a friend, hopefully not one of your own children. But yeah, the intention is to give you guys an understanding. How do you pray for an individual? How do you recognize these traits in somebody? And also, how do you relate to them and how do you communicate to them, okay? So by no means do I want anybody to be tempted or allured to Wicca. And I just want to make that clear because it bothers me that I'm even talking about this subject. In fact, it kind of disgusts me because I come from this junk, okay? I practiced a whole bunch of weird stuff. I was very eclectic, and some of my eclecticness included Wicca. And my wife, Danielle, she spent quite a number of years playing with this silliness, okay? So anyway, there I go again, rambling. Let's jump into this. So I found this article on Wicca.com, and it's a quick bird's eye view of what they believe, and I wanted to read it to you because I think it's really good. This person is a Wiccan, okay? So you're going to get their perspective. But it's quick, and it gives you a quick bird's eye view of basically what they believe. And I just wanted to interrupt at times and throw in my silly Mike Bohm comments. So here we go. It says, witchcraft is a spiritual system, and they're talking about Wicca here, is a spiritual system that fosters the free thought and will of the individual, encourages learning and an understanding of the earth and nature, thereby affirming the divinity in all living things. Okay, so now I'm going to interrupt again. You're going to find threaded throughout this Wiccan belief system, and oh boy, they are so varied. There is not a specific doctrine or theology that they hold to, okay? Every Wiccan is somewhat eclectic, I should just add. But you're going to find a lot of pantheism and also panentheism. They kind of just thread throughout. And some Wiccans realize this and they choose a particular direction or side, and others are not even aware that there's some logical differences and contradictions in their belief system. But anyway, oh yeah, and by the way, panentheism or pantheism is basically God is everything and everything is God. So your computer's God, your cat that is named Mog, oh, that's my cat. Your cat is God, your dog is God, your mom is God, your rocks are God, the plants in your backyard are God, and the tomato plant that you're growing is God. Okay? Bizarre, okay? Panentheism is very similar to pantheism, except for they believe there is a supreme being, but all of creation is part of that supreme being. Does that make sense? You guys kind of get the distinction? Pantheism, everything is God, and panentheism, there is a supreme being, God, and everything in creation is just a part of that God. That's just part of it. But there still is that supreme being that is above its creation. none of these two views is Christian, okay? Just in case you're wondering. But you're going to find these two views are woven throughout Wicca quite a bit. So you already kind of saw it. Here we go again. We acknowledge the cycles of nature, the lunar phases, the seasons, and the seasons to celebrate our spirituality and to worship the divine. It is a belief system that allows the witch to work with, not in supplication to deities, with the intent of living in harmony and achieving balance with all things. Okay, so you're going to find also a theme of almost like nature worship woven through this article and also through their beliefs. They really get in tune with nature. And, well, I like nature, but no, I don't worship it, and I don't ascribe to it any kind of spiritual, supernatural significance short of just it is God's creation, right? And, let me throw another little side road rabbit trail in here. Many podcasts back, I can't even remember what series, and it doesn't matter. I've mentioned a few times that I like permaculture. Now, some of you guys could care less. You don't even know what it is. Okay, it's basically creating scientific relationships between your plants and the curves of your land and the insects and how you craft your, I don't even want to use the word craft, how you mold your land to maximize, in my case, maximize yield of food. I like to grow food. Okay, and permaculture is so much greater than that. And I just found out as I was doing this study that there is a side of permaculture that's involved with witchcraft. Blah, seriously, come on. But there's an author, Starhawk. Okay, how come I don't have a cool name like Starhawk? No, anyway, she wrote a whole book apparently on this whole permaculture subject. But see, listen, when you plant marigolds around your garden, okay, it drives away certain bad bugs that like to eat your plants. Okay, this concept goes pretty deep. There's all these different plant relationships that you can have. It's scientific. There's no supernatural, woo-woo aspect going on here, as in put your forefinger towards the side of your head, twirl it around and go, woo-hoo. Okay, seriously. I don't do any weird dances in my backyard or draw circles in the dirt and stand in the circle and conjure the rain and, oh, good grief. Okay, it's just about growing food. There are some people that take it so much farther. And so I don't even like the word permaculture now. I'm ditching that. I'm just going to go back with I like growing food. How about that? And I like to be smart about it and create relationships between my plants where they help each other. Okay? All right. How about that rabbit trail? But I just thought I'd mention that because I mentioned permaculture in a podcast and suddenly I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, I didn't have any idea that there was that side of it. So I guess there's a hokey pokey side to permaculture. Sorry, guys. Anyway, let's move on. The article says, the spells that we do involve healing, love, harmony, wisdom, and creativity. The potions that we stir might be a headache remedy, a cold tonic, or an herbal flea bath for our pets. We strive to gain knowledge of and use the natural remedies placed on this earth by the divine. See, there's a little panentheism. For our benefit instead of using synthetic drugs unless absolutely necessary. All right, so the first half of that, the spells part, well, I already told you what I think of spells. Or rather, I should say, I already told you what God says about spells, about witchcraft, about trying to access energy or power from a source that's not Him. Okay? And trying to manipulate the world around you by tapping into some supernatural source. Not good. Not good at all. What about the second half? I don't like the word potion. Okay, I don't want to go there. But at the same time, you know, if you guys take a little bit of echinacea for a cold, you know, you're not calling it a potion and you're not ascribing some kind of supernatural aspect to it. It's simply scientific. God put properties in the echinacea that help your body's immune system. Hey, what's the big deal? But yeah, the problem with potions is, and this definition here, or how this person writes this, is that, well, we all know that a lot of these potions do have some kind of supernatural aspect to them. And in that sense, I absolutely disagree. I mean, if you're going to take a little bit of white willow bark for a headache, that's one thing. But when you start making your own concoctions and putting a spell and calling on some power to give it more of an ability, well, now we've got a problem. Does that make sense to you guys? All right, good. Wiccans believe that the spirit of the one goddess and God exists in all things. So there is that kind of pantheistic feel here, but they have the spirit of the one, but they refer to it as the goddess and the God. Interesting. We'll get into that a little more later. They believe this goddess and God exists in all things. It goes on to say, in the trees, rain, flowers, the sea, in each other, and all of nature's creatures. This means that we must treat all things of the earth as aspects of the divine. We attempt to honor and respect life in all its many manifestations, both seen and unseen. Okay, the Bible does say, love your neighbor as you love yourself, right? But the Bible does not say that you are anything divine. You might be made in the image of God. Hey, that's cool. But that doesn't mean you are God, okay? You didn't create the heavens and the earth. And you have nothing, no special abilities beyond what God grants you through His Holy Spirit, through His mercy, and how He created you, okay? We're not little gods. Anyway, okay. Dead horse, I'm moving on. So, all right, moving on. We also revere the spirits of the elements of the earth, air, fire, and water. Of course, you guys have heard of that rock band, right? But we also revere the spirits of the elements of earth, air, fire, and water, which combine to manifest all creation. From these four elements, we obtain insight to the rhythms of nature and understand they are also the rhythms of our own lives. If you can see me right now, there's a blank stare on my face. Sorry, that to me. Okay, anyway, let's move on. Because witches have been persecuted for so many centuries, we believe in religious freedom first. We do not look at our path as the only way to achieve spirituality, but as one path among many to the same end. All right, we've talked about this before. I have a podcast on tolerance, postmodernism. There's that postmodern feel here, and the idea that all paths lead to the same end, or all paths lead to God. Okay? Guys, all paths do not lead to God. Okay? When somebody says that God told them to strap a bomb to themselves and walk into a crowded restaurant and blow everybody to smithereens, and another person says God told them to love their neighbor as they love themselves, that's not the same God. And if that was the same God, we got issues, okay? We got issues. Some people's God tells them to sacrifice little children on the steaming or the searing hot arms of Molech while they read a Christmas-like list to this searing red-hot statue of what they would like from Molech for the next year. Okay, really? Does that path lead to the same God? No, guys, all paths don't lead to God. And if there is a creator that created everything, don't you think that creator would be specific enough to know what they wanted, if anything, from us? And if they did communicate to us, don't you think they would communicate in a way that is concrete, that is solid? But anyway, that's another teaching. Check out the Postmodern series, and I talk about postmodernism, I talk about tolerance, I talk about all paths leading to God. Going to this tolerance idea, the Wiccan movement is really big on tolerance. But I want you to notice something, and this will come through in this article, and it comes through in some other stuff I'll read to you in the following days, and it'll just come through in your daily lives when you interact with people who are part of this. They don't seem to have a problem with anybody out there except for the Christians. You might hear some of them complain about Muslims because, I mean, let's face it, Muslims kind of do dampen the party when things kind of blow up, but they always seem to go after the Christians. So they're really big on tolerance and tolerating everybody, but then they start sneaking shots in at the Christians. I'm just saying there's a little bit of hypocrisy there, but hey, whatever. And let's go ahead and stop right there. Friends, you can hook up with me on Facebook, Twitter, or you can come out to my website and leave comments there, youthapologeticstraining.com. I really do want to talk to you guys, and I've noticed I have a few listeners out in Germany. I'd love to talk to you guys as well. Anyway, with that, I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.